run a fake clinic? I mean, is that what's happening here? You don't provide actual medical care to actual women?
We absolutely do not run a fake clinic, and we have a full medical staff.
Amid a recent spate of attacks on pro-life pregnancy centers, front and center for both senators on both sides of the abortion issue, while President Biden's action on the issue so far also drawing criticism from both sides. But that's not even the most recent headache for the First Family. Let's get into all of that with tonight's Dream Team panel. Fox News contributors Leslie Marshall and Jason Chaffetz. Welcome back to both of you.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, so today we get word that the DOJ is starting up a task force on reproductive rights. They want to make sure that there's no infringement on legal protections for women pursuing what they call reproductive care. And they don't want anyone impairing a woman's ability to seek reproductive care in states where it is legal. At the same time, though, Jason, no word on protection for the clinics that many of them and the churches often associated with the pro-life movement are under attack.
Well, the Department of Justice is supposed to protect everybody under the law. So if they want to protect these abortion clinics, they should also be protecting the reproductive right clinics. And they should also be protecting the Supreme Court justices. That is part of the law, too. But what this Department of Justice is doing, it appears, is just protecting their political friends. And that's what's infuriating. A lot of this is local law enforcement, but the law has been decided. The Supreme Court has ruled.
Okay, in light of that, here's what Senator Chuck Grassley had to say about all of those threats to these pregnancy groups and to the justices who penned this decision.
The lack of a response from both the Justice Department and the White House is extremely, extremely disappointing. Along with the threats against the justices, threats against pro-life and crisis pregnancy centers have dramatically increased since the leak of the Dobbs decision.
So, Leslie, why not put out a statement or a more united front that says we want to protect everybody across the spectrum on this issue?
I don't know that I'm going to have enough time to say all of this. First of all, the justices are protected, and then you had bipartisan support giving them additional protection. And I think it's naive for anybody, especially a Supreme Court justice, to think after such an emotional decision as abortion, you also have capital punishment and gun rights. Those are the three most emotionally charged political topics in our nation, that there wouldn't be fury, there wouldn't be anger. I think is completely naive. I would, if I had made that ruling,
they may expect it, but they may not expect that people are going to run them out of restaurants and threaten their children and tell people where they go to school and where they go to church.
I think it's wrong, but when you look at what has happened in this country over the past 6+ years, I'm really not surprised. To answer your question regarding the Department of Justice task force versus protection for not just clinics that provide abortions in the states where it is still currently legal, like the state I'm in California, or these crisis pregnancy centers, where they try and talk about another option and try and convince a woman not to make that decision or choice to have the abortion. It's really apples and oranges, because what the task force is to do is to enforce the laws that are on the books already and to keep those, such as interstate travel, so a woman can obtain an abortion in a state that it is legal if she's in a state that it isn't. 1, 2, not prohibit an individual from ordering a medication that can, an abortion pill that can come into your state. And then, of course, third, not to criminalize or even a civil procedure those who, federal employees, who are doing something with regard to reproductive rights that is already federally protected.
But Leslie,
so,
you know that
and out there, whether it's a clinic, sorry, very quick, whether it's a clinic, a crisis pregnancy center, a Planned Parenthood, both have the same protections already.
Okay, so
and sadly, we all know that you call the police and they come.
Right. I mean, it's already against the law to commit arson or to deface or to vandalize. So why not,
Correct.
Jason? Do you think the DOJ will step up and say, the FBI says it's investigating these, but do you think we'll get a blanket statement saying, hey, we want to protect everybody, you know, whatever the clinic is, they're going to offer totally different things. But if they're actively being, you know, firebombed and vandalized, we want to make a clear policy and statement that we won't tolerate that either.
Yeah, Leslie, this is the problem, is that they're not protecting both sides. They won't even say that they're going to protect both sides. And in the case of the justices, it's already against the law. So why not enforce the law? You had federal law enforcement officers within feet of the people that were breaking the law, but nobody was arrested. So don't tell me that they're equally applying the law. They should have been arrested and charged on the spot, and yet none of them were.
Well, what about that, Leslie? Because the DOJ, there is a federal law on the books before the additional security that everybody passed. Thank God, in a bipartisan way, smartly meeting the moment and doing that. There is a there's a law on the books, a federal law that specifically says these people cannot do what they're doing outside the justices' homes. And even to issue a warning or to say, okay, if you show up again for the 50th time, we might start arresting people. I mean, nothing from the DOJ on that. It seems to only open them up to criticism.
It does open them up to criticism, but we also have to look at the language of the protections. Does this mean that nobody can heckle, and somebody might say exercise their First Amendment right in a restaurant, a shopping mall, a movie theater, a sidewalk? This was not this was not the justices. This is not the justice's home. In addition, when you have a security detail, when you have a security detail, what are the when it's outside the home, it's
I'm talking about the protest at their house. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the restaurant. No, the protest at their house. This is completely, like you said, already against the law, and people on both sides of the aisle, not just Republicans, are very much against. You certainly heard Senator Dick Durbin, who is a leading Democrat in the Senate, speak out against this, as have others, including myself and my party.
Right, and yes, you have been consistent on that, and yet the DOJ is not enforcing that particular law for these justices. This debate is not going to be over anytime soon, so please, both of you, come back. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Shan.
Thank you.
Thank you.